What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is Ready to Love. It says season 3, episode 20, but it's really season 4, like episode 8 or something like that. Anyway, we're gonna make it happen. So the guys are back in charge this week, and Tommy says, "Listen, it's time for them to meet the friends now." KG, aka Chris, says that he got a little PTSD from the Meet the Friends thing. Because remember last season, that was the episode with him and, Nia ended up not being on the same page and all shit went to hell. So he's a little PTSD, but, he's, of course, he's inviting Amber, to meet his friends, and they meet, some of his radio buddies down to the radio station, podcasts and stuff. And they seem to have a conversation, and everything seems to go pretty well. The one thing that was interesting is that she said she hadn't told her family or friends that she was going through this process. And so she hadn't told anybody in her family about Chris because she didn't tell anybody this was what was going on. Now, Chris said he didn't seem to be too bothered by that, but I don't know. I sort of have mixed feelings about it. Like, on one hand, I don't know if I would rush to tell my family that I'm going. I guess I feel like, well, when you gonna tell them? Because you on a whole TV show that gonna be on TV. People are gonna see it. People gonna have questions and conversations. I guess I just feel like, when you gonna tell somebody? But I can also understand that you're not being in a rush because you don't know how the situation is going to pan out. Like, I guess I get it. But his friends did like her overall. They liked her. And, I don't know, y'all. I'm still on the fence with Amber. Chris, I'm glad that you have locked in. And it seems to be mutual. But I don't know, y'all. I don't dislike Amber. It's just something I can't put my finger on. So then we had Joel. He invited Venetia to come and meet his friends. He had dinner, he did like a seafood broil or whatever over to his house. He had his 2 brothers there and a female friend of his. And Venetia, she said some things that sort of set off some alarm bells with Joel. She talked about being territorial, being a little jealous. She talked about being ready for marriage, and even though Joel likes her and everything, it seemed to sort of, I feel like he said that some of that was a little bit of a red flag for him, that the whole territorial thing, was a little bit of a red flag for him. Then we had, is it Ron? Ron went to the club, and he went to the club with Alicia and with Chrysanthemum. First of all, Chrysanthemum was not happy about the fact that it was a double date. She thought she was going to the club by herself with Ron, so that did not sit well. Then Venetia just don't give no whole lot of conversation. She was giving one-word answers. She was a little stank. She act like, she didn't want to be there. She had like a whole little attitude about it, Alicia, of course, is homegirl. Alicia was conversational. She was cool. Chrysanthemum even had on like this little jumpsuit with the sides cut out, and Alicia was like, "Listen, I'm all here for sexy, but we meeting his friends," and that might have been a little, a little bit much. Now I'm thinking to myself, when Alicia is telling you doing too much, you doing too much, cause we already know that Alicia don't. She don't always know when she doing too much. Venetia ended up leaving, and she sort of had an attitude when she left. Alicia stayed and had good conversations with the friends and everything. And then I was actually kind of here for it until she got ready to turn and leave and talk about something. You remember who your number one is? That whole number one thing, y'all know that thing irritates me. That thing irritates me. And so when she left, his friends were like, listen, Renisha, she wasn't very talkative. We didn't really get a chance to really get to know her. And he was like, well, that's sort of like me. Like, me and her, we communicate without communicating. I feel like they had sex. Because what's that communicate with? I mean, if y'all not having conversations, what y'all vibing on? What y'all connecting about? Like, I don't understand how that happens. How you connecting with somebody? Like, I don't know how that works. So then, his friends basically said, listen, Renisha seems like the kind of person that you can have a good time with. That's going to be somebody to be fun to hang out at the clubs or whatever. But Alicia is the one that's going to help you build your empire. Like, so you make a decision what it is you're trying to do. And I was like, I don't know how they got that vibe off of Alicia, but okay. Then we had Jason. Jason had Liz and Kyra meet his friends. Now, let me say this. Liz treated the situation like a job interview. She came in, she was polite, she was attentive, she answered the questions thoroughly, she was, had a nice disposition. Baby, then she got up and left. Like, okay, I have said what I need to say. I am not going to overstay my welcome. I'm going to get up out of here. Right? They seem to have a spiritual connection. They talked about the Bible and things like that. Then there was Kyra. Kyra stayed a little bit longer and talked to the friends. And, again, I didn't know that him and Kyra had this sort of connection. Like, I feel like that crept up on us. Like, I know they had a date and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. It sort of crept up on me. But, he seems smitten. For lack of a better word, he seems smitten. AJ had Kyra meet his friends. They went and played volleyball and had a good time or whatever. And she asked his friends, like, because his friends were sort of like grilling her a little bit, and so she sort of flipped it on them because she is an attorney, honey, so she knew how to flip that thing around. And she sort of was like, well, is AJ ready to love? Because some of the ladies feel like he's a player and he's this and he's that. And they were like, oh, no, he's definitely ready to love. He's settled down. He's establishing his career. He's definitely ready for this, So, I don't know. It seemed to go well, but I don't have no major sparks for me. They seemed like they was going through the motions. I don't know. Then we had, what's my boy? What's his name? Him and Liz. And Liz said basically he's still her number one. So she met up with him with his friends, and she did the same thing with his friends that she did with Jason. She sort of kind of treated it like a job interview. I felt like, she showed up, she was nice, she was polite, she was, she gave great answers. I felt like David. I felt like she gave some really good answers, and then she got up and left. Now, David was like, well, I really like her, but she just kind of moving a little fast. She moving faster than I'm ready to move. And, I just don't know. And then Liz brought up a good point. Liz was like, listen, at the end of the day, we've spent enough time together. We've had enough conversations. We've done, we've connected enough for you to know whether you want me or not. Like, at the end of the day, either you want me or you don't. And, David was like, well, I just don't know if I'm ready to make her my number one. I don't know if I'm ready to connect with her. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, who the hell else have you connected with? So either it's her or who? Because who else have you been connecting with, sir? Because I don't know. I ain't seen you even go out on a date with nobody else. So then Jason and Kyra went on this date. It was a really nice date. A friend of his is an artist, and he's a curator at a museum, and he's doing an exhibit. Anyway, Jason had access to this museum, and so they had a private access to this, art exhibit, and they were able to, see the art, and they were there by themselves, and they had champagne, and he had rose petals, and it was really nice. It was a very romantic day. It was absolutely You know, you coming back to my place when it's over kind of day. They kissed a little bit. They flirted a whole lot. They definitely connected and vibe. Like, they absolutely did. It was a nice date. It was really a nice date. Kyra said that she is torn between AJ and Jason. Like, she legit is torn between the two men. So the guys get to deliberating. Y'all, this deliberation confused the hell out of me. I don't know about y'all, but it confused the hell out of me. So first of all, of course, they went through what happened with the, you know, with the meeting the friends and all that good stuff. Then Tommy was like, so Joelle started talking about how things didn't really sit right with him and Renisha, and it seemed like it was coming from a different place. Like, he had a whole different energy with Renisha than he seemed to have before. And Tommy even had to remind him, but you've been vibing with her, like, you've been cool with her. And he was like, yeah, but I don't know. Well, what we end up finding out is the night before deliberations, they had an argument. So he's in his feelings because they had an argument, not so much the whole totality of what's been going on with them, but because that night before, and he was in his feelings. So Tommy goes around the room and he starts asking them, well, who's your number one? Like, if you had to pick today, who would your number one be? And Joelle says Kyra. And the whole room looked at him like, Kyra? Sir, you ain't even looked at Kyra. Have you even been on a date with Kyra? Your Kyra has never come out your mouth. And Tommy had to even be like, Kyra has never come out your mouth. You have never mentioned her. You have never talked about her. Where is this coming from with Miss Kyra? So then we get to AJ. AJ says Kyra. Jason says Kyra. David says Kyra. And I'm sitting here like, okay, have y'all not been showing us some stuff? Have y'all editing this to the point where we don't, like, when did all these men spend time with Kyra? Girl, what you doing? I was confused as hell. So now it came down to, and of course, Chris said Amber, Ron said Alicia, and, you know, and then, so Liz and Chrysanthemum's name starts bumping around. Now, Ron is in his feelings because everybody is kind of coming for Chrysanthemum. And he, you know, because Chris was like, well, you know, I text her, she don't ever want to text me back. And, you know, she don't seem to have no words for me. And so Ron was like, oh, so Chris is in his feelings because she don't text him back. I mean, I don't never have no problem getting a call back. And I was just like, boy, everybody else ain't lying. Like, all the rest of the men, for the exception of you, didn't have nothing nice to say about Miss Chrysanthemum. You the only one that had something nice to say about her. Then Liz, Jason liked Liz, but after that date with Kyra's now his number one. So if he had to pick somebody today, it was going to be Kyra. And David, you ain't even been dating nobody else. Now all of a sudden, Liz ain't the one. So I'm like, either it's Liz or it's nobody. Because you have not connected with nobody. Nobody, your name is not in nobody else's mouth, sir. None of these other women are thinking about you. They ain't stunting you. They ain't thinking about you. So if you're not feeling Liz, then at this point, I guess both of y'all can go. So, of course, it comes down to Liz and Chrysanthemum. Chris goes to talk to Chrysanthemum, and Ron goes to talk to Liz. So Chrysanthemum almost gave us a Naya moment. It wasn't quite as bad, but she walked in there with an attitude because she knew what was up. She knew that they were having deliberations. Probably one of the guys told her. And so she knew that her and KG wasn't vibing on nothing, that they ain't really had no connection. So when he was the one that called and wanted to take her out, she knew what was up. So she walked in the door with an attitude. And when he told her, you know, what it was and this and that, you know, he used examples. And I mean, one of the examples he used was, you know, the fact that she don't return text messages. And she was like, oh, so y'all can't take it when it get flipped on y'all. Oh, so guys can't take it when a woman do y'all like y'all do us. Oh, y'all can't take it. You know, I guess referred to the whole, you know, you called me and I didn't call you back fast enough kind of thing. And then, they talked, he was like, well, you know, the men just feel like, you know, that they, you know, you're not ready to love. And she was just like, all right, whatever then. All right, cool. All right. Y'all just can't handle it when it come back to y'all. Then she got mad talking about something. So I invested all this time for nothing. And she started, so she said Ron and whoever the other guys were that she felt like I guess she had invested her time with, honey. Now Liz got the you need to step your pussy up conversation. But I feel like Liz is only interested in either Jason or David. And like I said, if David ain't interested and he not gonna make and David is really her number one. Like David is really the person she wants to be with. So if David ain't gonna give her no attention or pick her, I should say, then I don't know what's gonna end up happening next week. Because you know the women are back in charge. So I don't know. We'll see. Well, let me know. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all let me know what y'all think, honey. Drop it in the comments. Peace.